Hi, today we're going to be talking about freezing as far as food preservation is concerned. One of the things I wanted to tell you about is the books, the resources that are available. My favorite book is the Ball Blue Book, The Guide to Home Canning and Freezing. I've had this book probably 30-something years, and I use it every year. Another book is the Kerr or the Carr. It's the same thing, just a different brand. And then my sister-in-law found this for me, the Canning and Preserving Cookbook by Southern Living. This is very, very old, but if you will look through everything, most of the information is all the same. Okay, now we're going to begin the actual process to preserve your vegetables by the freezing method. But first you have to do a couple of steps. I've already measured out a pound of my yellow squash, and what I'm going to do is place it in a mesh bag like this, and then I'm going to place it in boiling bath water, and I'm going to do that process for 3 minutes. Now you want to make sure that the water is boiling and move your vegetables or fruit, whatever it is that you're processing, around, but make sure that the water is boiling. And it'll kind of stop a little bit, but then it will continue to boil. But then once the 3 minutes is up, you're going to take it out, and then you're going to put it in your cold water. This process helps take off and clean off the bacteria, any soils on your vegetables. You want to make sure that you wash your vegetables first and before you begin this process. But this is the basically cleansing process, sterilizing, you might say, of your vegetables. So once this process is done, we'll continue with the cooling method. Now that my 3 minutes is up on the scalding part, I'm going to splash them in some ice cold water, and this process helps the vegetables retain their color. It helps keep the minerals in the vegetables where they won't lose their taste, and it's also just the process that you need right away to keep them from cooking after they've been in the boiling water. So I'll do this for 3 minutes as well. And then once they're finished cooling off, then I'll let them drain in a colander until they're completely cooled, and then they'll be ready for packaging. Now we're going to talk about packaging your vegetables and fruits, whatever it is that you're wanting to preserve. There are several different methods that you can use and that are recommended. To package your vegetables, you've got these plastic freezing containers, or you can find freezer boxes as well. You've got your vegetable, your canning jars. You can use the half pint or the pint. Those are the sizes that are recommended. You can also use quart also. And then you've got your freezer bags. This is a pint, this is a quart. And then the other option I like to use are the food saver, where you vacuum seal your vegetables. This is wonderful because it definitely takes out all the air. It's great for packaging anything, meats, fruits, vegetables, and this will help preserve them a lot longer without all of that air. Keep in mind, when you're using your jars, these are recommended for anything that you're canning that's juicy or runny, that has a sauce. And you'll also need to allow for a 1/2 inch headspace on the pint size and a 1/4 inch headspace on your half pint. That's because of the expansion of the liquid once the item does freeze. So what I'd like to do now is I finished cooling down my yellow squash that I processed in the boiling water and cooled it down in ice water, and I'm going to place my vegetables in this bag, and then I'm going to try to get out as much of the air as possible, and then seal it up, and it will be ready to go in the freezer. And then I'll show you also a couple of packages that I've already done, that I've already frozen in the freezer. So this will just take just a second here to finish packaging everything up. And what you're going to want to do, this is a quart-sized bag. You're going to want to process in the boiling water a pound at a time in a gallon of water. So keep that in mind. So I'm going to see if I can get some more air out of this. But you want to make sure you squeeze out as much air as possible, because air is what hurts your vegetables. That causes them to get like freezer burn and stuff. So that's a good seal, I think. And you also definitely want to make sure you label what it is that you're freezing. This is my yellow squash that I did today. Now let me show you a couple of things that I've already frozen. This is my zucchini that I packaged last week, and this is the yellow squash that I packaged last week as well. So this is what this is going to turn into, and these are really well to thaw out in the refrigerator. It's recommended so that you can make zucchini bread, zucchini cakes. You can cook this. Now, when it thaws out, it might be a little squishy, so it might not be as well for frying, but you can definitely continue to cook them for later on. So that's the process for doing food preservation, the freezing method.